Hello everyone, good morning. I'm back once again. Hope you all have watched the videos which I uploaded. But it seems that the number are less than the total number of students. I'm not forcing you, but everybody do watch twice, thrice. It is a request. In this pandemic situation, we should not stop learning. Come on, let's start with today's section. Myself, Dr. Paritosh Rana. Before starting for today's section, what we have learned? Yes, conductance. What do you mean by conductance? Reciprocal of resistance, sigma. Then we have also done about resistance by Ohm's law, and then we have done for solids as well as for liquids. Specific conductivity, conductance also known as conductivity. Then we have done for specific resistance, which is also known as resistivity, equivalent conductance, molar conductance, and lastly the cell constant. I hope you all have watched this. So let's start with today's session. Now, today we are going to learn what are the factors which are going to affect the conduction. Rather, now it's a electrochemistry chapter, so we are definitely going to deal with liquid as an electrolyte. So what are the different factors which are going to affect the conductance? So there are 5 important factors which are going to affect the conductance, and they are: first one is concentration of electrolyte, second is nature of electrolyte, third one is interionic interactions, fourth one is temperature, and fifth one is nature of solvent. So it is a very important question, and as far as your examination is concerned, this is the question which is likely to become, and I will be asking to you in the questions paper. Okay. Now let us study the first one, concentration of an electrolyte. Now you all are very aware that if you dissolve any solute in a solvent, then the solute get ionized and number of ions are produced, that is cations and anions. So number of ions present per unit volume affects the conductance of the solution. More the number of ions per unit volume, higher is the concentration, and vice versa. Now you can see in the figure A, there are I have tried to show you number of ions. That black dot shows you the number of ions. So it is a less concentrated solution, whereas the B figure, it shows you the highly concentrated solution. So as we can say, there is more number of ions, the conductance is more. So if you compare A with B, you will see that the conductance in B will be greater as compared to the conductance in A, because number of ions present in B are more as compared to number of ions present in the A solution. So very simple concept: if you increase the concentration of a solute in a given volume of solvent, then the concentration increases and ultimately resulting in the increase of the conductance. The next one, nature of electrolyte, very important and very easy to understand also. We all have learned this in our 10th standard, rather the introduction was done in the 10th standard and you have learned in detail in your 12th standard. What do you mean by electrolyte? What do you mean by strong electrolyte? What do you mean by weak electrolyte? So for simplicity, I have mentioned some examples which you have also encountered, or which you always learned in our ionic equilibria chapter. On the left hand side you can see HCl and NaOH. I have purposely written the example of one acid and one base. And so similarly I have written two examples on the right hand side, that is CH3COOH, that is acetic acid, and NH4OH is the ammonium hydroxide. Now what does it makes the difference? As you know that strong electrolyte, whatever amount you are going to add in the given volume of the solution, all the number of molecules get dissociated, ionized, and hence there will be more number of ions. But what in the case of weak electrolyte, as you all know that weak electrolyte has less ionization, complete ionization doesn't take place, a very little molecule of added electrolyte dissolves, that's why number of ions which will be produced will be less. So definitely as compared to strong electrolyte, weak electrolyte has less number of ions, and you can say that the conductance is less in case of weak electrolyte and conductance will be more in the case of strong electrolyte. Weakly ionized solution has less conductance and strongly ionized solution has high conductance. It's a very simple concept for just to begin with. What are the factors? As you will go further, there is lot of ifs and buts which can be or which are there in the coming syllabus. For now you understand that if there is a strong electrolyte, then the conductance will be more, and if there is a weak electrolyte, then the conductance will be less. Okay, then again a different type of interaction, interionic interaction. Now students, as you know, for an example, if you dissolve say NaCl, our common salt, in water, that is H2O. Now what's happened? As you dissolve NaCl in water, Na plus and Cl minus is formed. Similarly, water is also a polar solvent, therefore water contains H plus and OH minus. Now for an example, I have shown you a figure mentioning black dots and red dots. For our consideration, let us consider that the red one are the cations and the black one are the anions. What happened in the interionic interactions? Now for an electrolytic conduction, good conduction, there should be no interaction between these ions, say H plus ions, Na plus ions, OH minus ions and Cl minus ions. But in some solution, if there is some interaction among these ions, say H plus and Cl, or you can say Na plus and OH. So if there is such kind of interactions within the same molecule or with the opposite molecule, then what happens, instead of moving towards the oppositely charged electrode, they are going to move in the ionic structure itself, and that's why what happens, they will not increase the conductance, rather they will decrease the conductance. So if you have interaction between the ions, within the ions, whether the same ions or whether the different ions or whether the ions of a solution, that times what happened, the interionic interaction results in the decrease of the conductance. As I have mentioned here, in concentrated solutions, the forces of attraction between oppositely charged ions is greater and hence conductance is low. In diluted solution, force of attraction are negligible and hence conductance is high. So if you say that the ions have more number of space, so there will be less interactions as they have mentioned, but for this particular factor, you can say that if there is no interionic interaction, conductance will be high, and if there is some kind of interionic interactions, then definitely they are going to affect the conductance of the solution. Okay, very important part. Now I have tried to explain it in a very analytic way, but let us see what affects the conductance by the factor called as temperature. As you very well know that suppose if you are not having any penny in your pocket, you will be sitting ideally dumb, you will not go to the canteen XYZ, okay, you will not go, or you will not call your girlfriend also that today we are going to go out. But if rather there is a pink colored newly invented note, say 2000 rupees are there in your pocket, what you will do? You will jump like anything. You will go to buy some stuffs for your girlfriend, you will go to canteen, you will have this, you will like to have pizza. Similarly, if there are ions which are present inside the solution, but they are not having any energy, then what they will do? They will just vibrate at their particular position. Now let's see what happens with the effect of temperature. This is a solution which contains some ions. Now we have increased the temperature. Oh, see, I have just shown or tried to show you that what happens to the ions when you supply energy. Now temperature is nothing but what? Heat. Heat is nothing but what? A kind of energy. So if you have a solution at a normal temperature, room temperature, and if you have another solution with same number of ions at a bit higher temperature, now what will happen? The solution which is at higher temperature will have more number of energy, and as the electrons will have more number of energy, they will be continuously in a random motion and they will move faster. So it is said that if you increase the temperature, then the kinetic energy of the ions ultimately increases and it results in increase in the conductance. So it is again a very important factor to learn. And the last and very important factor to learn is the nature of the solution. Students, as you know, water is a universal solvent, but we use various other type of solvents also. You have also seen organic solvents, inorganic solvents. Now there is one concept which we have learned in surface tension chapter of 12th standard physics, that is viscosity. Viscous, thickness, that is increase in the surface tension. Now what happens? If a solution is having less viscosity, then there will be flow of ions freely. If you increase the viscosity of the solution, what happens? The mobility of the ions is hampered. So if you suggest, or rather I will say, if you think that I am keeping a water, I have placed a beaker which contains water, and similar beaker is containing oil. Now you all know which is the most viscous solution? Definitely oil. So the movement of ion will be more in oil or in water? Of course it will be more in the case of water. So the viscosity is another factor which affects the mobility of the ions, and hence you can say less viscous solution have more conductance, and if you increase the viscosity, then the conductance decreases. Yeah, these are thus downloaded diagrams for you. See the upper, there are four bottles, glass bottles. You can see there is one what you can say plastic ball, or say rather substance which is used to calculate the, or to see whether which solution is viscous. In the first bottle you can see the ball has sink up to the bottom. In the second it has just made up to the center of the bottle. The third one you cannot see, and the fourth one you cannot see. This suggests that the viscosity increases from left to right. These are two practical photographs. One is water and other is cyclohexanone, which is more viscous as compared to water. And if you want, I can give you the viscous example we use daily at our home, that is the honey sample, which is more viscous. If you try to swirl in the water, or say water containing lemon juice, you can easily swirl, but if you use same beaker with containing honey, it will be difficult for you to shake it or swirl the spoon. So thank you students, that's what I want to say today in this particular lecture. I hope you will go through it twice, thrice, and it's a request, ask your friends to watch it, because the number of students who are watching, we have a record of it. There are very less, total there are 250 students, but till now only 180, 190 students, odd students are just watching it. So try to watch If not possible, use someone else's phone, you can copy the link and you can just watch it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, any queries, ping me on my WhatsApp or you can just call me up. Thank you.